Welcome back to Reality Check. Thank you for being here. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, I encourage you to do that and give this episode a thumbs up, maybe even before you watch. We'd love to hear your feedback as you always do. Leave us a comment and let us know where you are watching this episode from. As you have seen in the title, we are going to be discussing how to be single and satisfied. We live in a world where marriage is seen as the ultimate marker of fulfillment, right? However, because of that, singleness can feel like a waiting room, a season in your life where you have paused and you're waiting for this grand thing called marriage. But what if single life or singlehood is not a gap in your life and can actually be fulfilling? It can actually be a season where you grow, a season where you thrive, before you enter the marriage space, or not at all. Maybe marriage is not on the cards for you. I know single people may not want to hear that, but that is the conversation we are going to be having today. And joining us to have that conversation is a special guest who I'm sure you have seen on the YouTube streets discussing the same subject. When she walked in here, she said, I hope I'm not becoming the poster child for single people. But the truth is, many single people are not as courageous to come out and talk about this season of their lives. So we applaud you, Grace.
Thank you.
For being open to this conversation. So we have Grace Kenganzi, ladies and gentlemen, in the building. And she's going to be joining us for this conversation. And of course, Dr. Eva Satwine, who is our resident therapist and also the founder at ICFC. If you are watching here for the first time, ICFC is a therapy practice. And it's located in Bukoto, TMT Atrium building on the 3rd level. So if you're looking for any kind of therapy or maybe just life coaching, you're trying to find direction in life, she and her team of experienced therapists will guide you along this journey called life. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel.
Yeah. Grace, do you want to say something about yourself? How you want the people to know you?
Because my name has been said, but I don't know how to talk about myself. But I love the Lord, or I seek to love the Lord. So I'm a Christian. I work in media and communications. I am a daughter, a sibling, and I feel like my purpose is really I try to honor God and love people. That's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's good. Lovely. So welcome, Grace. Welcome, Dr. Evas.
Thank you.
I think a good place to start is why this conversation is important. And the reason I ask that question is, like I mentioned earlier, singlehood can be a waiting room with pressure. You know, you must be married. And there's real pressure. We're not going to deny that. Pressure from aunties and uncles, pressure from parents, pressure from society, pressure from within. You know, I'm getting to that age where I should be married. I should have settled down to be married. So maybe let's start with, why is this conversation important? Why are we having it as Reality Check? We'll start with our guest.
Okay. As you mentioned, most of us single people don't like to talk about this season. And it's because of the things you've said, the pressure and the strange shame. Like this is I keep saying, what are we ashamed of? But there's a strange shame that comes when you introduce yourself and ask, are you married? And you say no. And it's just, I always feel like there's nothing to be ashamed of. But I think it's important because many of us are actually single. I feel like I don't know if I've not done the maths, but I think there are more single people than married people. And so having a conversation on how to live, I know the topic is satisfied, but I was thinking, are we really satisfied? I don't know. But it's important to have that conversation because the media is saturated with either being coupled, whether it's marriage, whether it's just being in a relationship. I mean, we've just left the Valentine's weekend and everything is about, being loved. If you've not received flowers, you're not loved. I mean, all those are lies. But I feel like relationships have become an identity. And so because of that, it's good to have this conversation because I don't think relationship status is my identity. Just happens to be one of the things. I'm a single person, but it doesn't mean it's my full identity. Yet I have seen some people make that an identity, and it can be crushing because I feel like it also comes from a place of wanting to be chosen. Yes. And so if you've not been chosen, then there's something wrong. And as I've said, again, the media is full of that, everything you're doing as a woman is so that you can attract men. And which it's not correct. I don't think it's biblically correct when we are called to live righteously or to seek God. I don't think it's that we can attract men. It's that we can live purposeful lives, that we can thrive in our God-given gifts. And when we don't have that conversation, then the lies that are in the world will continue to define us, which means we're not living healthily. Yeah. We're not living fully. So you're in this waiting room, like in a hospital, and you're waiting for your name to be called. Yes. And I don't think that's what life is like. And I also don't even know why it started, because when we were growing, I don't remember feeling like I was in a waiting room when I was growing up. Like you're just growing. So I don't know where it starts, at what point you start feeling like, now I'm in a waiting room. And yeah, so I thank God. I've always felt like of course there are those pressures, but I always felt like there's life. Let's continue.
Yeah, there are other things to be done.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that. I think that there's something almost passive about waiting.
Yes.
And I think the goal of this conversation is to say you don't have to wait passively. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep serving. Keep finding your purpose. Keep growing, as opposed to sitting back and waiting again to be chosen, to be picked. And once you tie that to your identity, if you're not chosen or picked, it feels like a fail in life. Over to you, ma'am.
Single. I think single life is a stage. In psychology, we study about the stages of human development. And so it is a stage. What we do with it is another thing, but it is a stage on our lifespan.
That's true.
And I like that you mentioned that most people are so embarrassed to be single. We shouldn't. We shouldn't be embarrassed because it is a stage. I love scripture in Ecclesiastes. I think Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 11, which speaks about in His time God makes all things beautiful. So on the journey of life, we're going to have different stages. In all honesty, at that stage, some people are going to cross into romantic relationships. Others may be called into single life. And I think the point I've made here is for especially the message to single people, because there is a lot of pressure to get married, but there is also pressure for self-proof. Like, look, I'm not meant for marriage, and you had better not be meant for marriage. And it's true that actually God is not calling you into marriage. But if you call yourself into single life,
yes,
you understand?
Yes.
There are some out of pressure also. They say, then therefore I don't need marriage. Even when they are praying, some of them when they are praying, they don't tell God the right thing. They know in their hearts they need marriage, but they will pray, they will communicate a different thing. Who told you I'm supposed to be married? So I guess the pressure is real. But if we embrace the stage and know that at every stage we are actually called to be fulfilled, right? There is no stage where you're less.
Yes.
That's true.
It's just transition to another stage. So for me, that's very important, because you see, again, in our life management, we need stability to make good decisions. So if you're single and anxious, or single and confused, or single and regretting, I don't know, whichever emotions you're processing, then you're likely to make a wrong decision.
Yeah.
Because if, for instance, you're panicky, you're looking at your friends, they've gotten married, you're asking yourself, why? That is natural, by the way, but it needs to be controlled. You need to manage it in such a way that it does not inform your next decision. That's why most young people, for instance, or singles, have gotten into relationships out of panic.
Yeah.
And they haven't really evaluated the relationships. All they need is a wedding, giveaways on this day and all that. But then when they get in, they start asking, was I ready? Was I ready? Did I take my time? Was this the person I was supposed to spend my life with? And so I think I've given the answer. It is a stage, it is transition, either to marriage life or to single life, if you're called into single life.
That's true. You both have alluded to, I guess, being in the right frame of mind as you're choosing, or rather as you're navigating singlehood. And I think many single people, I'm sure you'll attest to this, Grace, imagine that marriage is going to cure some kind of loneliness, or it's going to amplify their identity. And I want you both to speak to why this is a dangerous state of mind to enter into marriage, but also just to keep navigating your single life. If you're thinking, if I can get out of this life, or rather get out of this space with a husband or a wife, then I will be better in terms of companionship, or I will be better in terms of identity. I'll become a Mrs. So-and-so. Maybe they'll respect me. Why is this a dangerous way to think? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's dangerous because, first of all, it postpones joy, like the joy of now. Because even now, things are happening in our lives. And if we are so fixated on this maybe, because it's a maybe, we don't know, and or this hope, then today, either the things we talked about, we are either anxious, we are unhappy, we are comparing ourselves to other people, and we're not taking the time to see the things that are actually, the good things that God is doing in our lives. Also, we don't take time, if we are always fixed in marriage, then we're not also doing that, because there's a lot of inner work that we need to do as individuals. As you get older, you start realizing that you might have some issues as a human being, but you're not going to do that if all your mind is on, I have to get married. So it's dangerous because, first of all, you won't do that inner work that you need. And then also, the other thing for me is feel like you're putting so much pressure on this invisible man. This man is going to come and then change your life. He's also a human being. I can't imagine I can't imagine me as Grace, someone out there, putting all this pressure on me to be the one to somehow change their life. I'm just a human being. So I feel like that's an unhealthy outlook, to expect this person to change your life, to expect marriage to change your life. Because then what if it doesn't when you get married? Because you asked about being satisfied. Why I said, I don't know if I can really say I'm fully satisfied. It's because I'm always seeking. It's like I'm always trying to be satisfied. And sometimes I will do that. I will see that satisfaction maybe in using my gifts. You apply for a job, you get it, and for a moment you are satisfied. But because we are humans, we keep growing. Again, you will still feel dissatisfied over something, and so you will again seek it. So what happens when you get married and you get dissatisfied? So yeah, I feel like that it's dangerous because it puts an abnormal pressure on marriage, and even more an abnormal pressure on this person that you're going to get married to. Imagine you're putting your whole identity on this person, this fellow human being, this fellow broken sinner to complete you, which is a very dangerous thing. And those are the things we like just to say, oh, you complete me.
Oh dear.
And a human being complete you.
Yeah.
Someone who wasn't in your mother's womb. Anyway. So yeah, that's why I think it's dangerous. It creates unrealistic expectations.
So true. It postpones joy. I think
And yes, it's also responsibility. Like, there's a lot happening now. Like, savor it, enjoy it.
And you're not complete. You're not complete, or you think you're not
And
complete now.
I think I'm complete. God
You
has
are
made me
complete.
complete.
Yes, he has. Yes, he
Yes.
has. Dr. Ibas, I want you to comment on especially the identity part.
The identity part, let me use psychology again. In psychology, we believe that who advises us, guides us, that on our lifespan, different stages, there is something we call resolution of different life stages. You've had people, for instance, who are old, but they desire to be a child.
Yeah.
One of my daughters always makes this joke every time life gets difficult. She says, "Mommy, can I be your baby again?" And I tell her, "Sorry, darling,
Time
you
has
can
gone."
only be older."
Yeah.
Now, and in real life, that's, by the way, that's a real problem. That when we do not enjoy and resolve every stage of life, for instance, if there are some childhood desires or unresolved issues you had, you're going to take them to the next stage.
Yes.
Right? And so you're likely to then play a child when you're an adult. Because you're desiring, you wished that you got that, but you were not able to get it. So my answer, Rachel, is I think I would advise people to enjoy a stage, every stage you're at. If when we are a child, I'm a parenting coach, I advise people, please allow your children to play so that they will not play as adults. Right? We have so many play boys and girls when they're supposed to be mothers. Now, so even when we are single, at a stage of single life, there are certain things you're supposed to enjoy as a single person, so you don't have what we call in psychology lingering psychological, emotional, and social conflicts.
Oh.
They linger.
Yeah.
Because you didn't resolve them. Now, when you resolve them, you're going to be a healthy person. When you use this stage to discover yourself and not look forward to be defined by a Mrs. someone. And I'm going to talk about Mrs. because I think there is also a challenge that young people are resenting marriage on the basis of identity.
Change your
Change your identity and all. I'll comment on that. But for now, I just want to conclude this point by saying, please use single life to discover yourself, know yourself, because you still have a lot of chance and cluttered mind. You don't have a lot of responsibility. Children are not screaming in the back end. You're still okay. I mean, like, marriage presents its own management aspects that now you don't have. And so you still have clear mind. Use it. Discover yourself. Who are you? Who are you, by the way? What defines you as Grace? How can we know you to be? Like you said, I love the Lord. This is who I am. This is what is great about me. That's why we do life coaching and help people to do what we call self-discovery. So that you know your brand. What's your brand? The challenge we are also having with single people is that they have no brand. And so they go to be branded by marriage. And that is going to be a problem. I'm a husband and a father. That's okay, but who are you?
That's true.
Who are you? So this is an opportunity for you to resolve all those. But also, the life of single people, it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable. There are certain things you still can do. You still visit your friend. Like there is. I think I had an experience again through counseling where a number of men were complaining their wives are more inclined to activities like sleep outs, girlfriend, wherever, which is okay.
Trips, yes.
There's no problem with that, girlfriend trips. That's okay. But then when it takes the place of marriage, that means most
a
likely you
problem.
could be having unresolved, lingering social conflicts
Yes.
that you have not resolved. Because, I mean, I can still connect with my friends. I'm married 30 years. But I'm going to know that there are certain things I can no longer do when I graduate to another stage.
Yes.
You understand? So the challenge is that when you do not spend time here, define yourself as a friend, through your platonic relationships, as family, as you, relating with yourself, self-love, self-identity, then you're going to struggle getting into marriage. And then you find you're angry at a husband that has done nothing to you, or as a wife that has done nothing to you. The only challenge is that you never took time to discover who you are. Right?
Yeah.
Who are you? So that is important. Now, coming back to the marriage and expectations and expecting, yes, broken people and all, that's okay. But you see, when we get into marriage, number one, we cross from single life to marriage.
Marriage, yes.
This is a different management platform.
Yeah.
Right? You cannot play single at marriage. And that's the biggest challenge we are having. So many single people in marriage. Because marriage is a mindset, by the way. It's acceptance of the status.
Yeah.
And then it comes with the responsibilities, and then you accept the responsibilities. And a different mode of operation. Right? A different mode of operation. You no longer make decisions alone.
yourself.
Now you have to consult. You have to negotiate because the other person hasn't bought into the idea. The way you communicate, you no longer yell because you have to consider the emotional structure of the other person. And so a number of other things. Are they wicked? No. It is just that you have graduated, you've been promoted
To the next
to
stage.
the next stage.
Yeah.
And there is nothing wrong with it. Are you going to marry a broken person? 100%. Both of you, two broken people trying to manage life and grow through the relationship. And so it is okay for anyone to have expectations on this relationship. Right? Because it's a partnership.
Yeah.
And so now you're getting in, then you're not getting in as a single person. Now you're getting in as a partnership. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. The person has not done nothing wrong. They're just waiting for you to do life together.
Yeah, yeah. I guess the expectation which you alluded to was, I think, and I've seen this on social media where you find married people talking about the challenges in married life because just like in single life, there are challenges the other side. And there's so many single people who are like, now marriage is not for me, and so it's self-proof. I think it's a self-proof you are talking about. Marriage is not for me because of what you have seen in other people's lives, and I don't think that that's a fair assessment. So let's use our single life for the right reasons. Grace, I want us to leverage your experience a bit, but before we do that, let's actually talk about the pressures of single people.
Yes.
The loud ones, the silent ones, the ones that are self-inflicted, the ones that are inflicted by society. I think it's only fair in having this discussion to talk about them because they're real and there are people who are actually suffering under the weight of these pressures. Yeah, we'll start with you, the single person.
Yes. The pressures, you've said them. There are those the loud ones, of course, especially as a Christian. You go for church events, the church people are asking. You go for a family event, the family people are making jokes, when you're introducing yourself. When you're in any social gathering, a wedding, those are the loud ones, the very obvious ones. Social media, and then of course there are the silent ones, the ones you can't run away from. You're getting older. Biology has said you can't have children up to a certain level. Even if you can, you're seeing those memes of I'm going to be a grandmother in my child's class. They're going to think I'm the grandmother. Then there's the loneliness that comes. You're there by yourself. You're like, even if you're with people, actually, as I keep saying, being alone and loneliness can be very different things. Because sometimes you're alone and you're okay. Sometimes you're in people and you're lonely. And then, of course, there are those comparisons where we have friends you've been moving as if at the same time. You graduated together, you got jobs at the same time, and then you start realizing in your friend group, and I have very many friend groups like that, where you're the only one who's not married or who has no children. And so, when you're trying to get to organize just get-togethers, you're the only one now you have to wait for everyone to collect themselves. There are schedules, and then you fall in. So I'm always saying, guys, me, I'm flexible. Just tell me when,
friend, yes.
and I will fall
You'll
in.
fall in, yeah.
So there are those silent pressures, and they are there. I think they are part of. I've accepted that they're part of life, and so what I've done is when they come, I grieve them. I'm like, every year I'm older, like praise the Lord for it, because I love my birthday. Those people, I don't hide my age. I'm excited about my birthdays because it's a gift. But also with every year, again, that's another year to people to ask you questions, which is strange because I don't think I had a timeline. I wasn't those girls who had a timeline who said by this age I'm going to. In school, my timelines were exams. Like in S4, I have to do UCE. Then in S6, I have to do USCE. Then at campus, I have to make sure I graduate. So I think that distracted me from. Then after the pressure, then after work, after campus, you have to find a job. So I think the Lord shielded me. And then by the time I came to the age where I could have maybe start feeling pressure, that's when the Lord found me. So now that became as if my new thing of now I needed to know the Lord. And I had to redefine, everything changed. Everything I had thought about marriage and relationships had to be redefined. So yeah, those are the pressures, really.
Yeah, and those are real. I think from Dr. Evers, I would want to hear how those pressures affect one's sense of self-worth and just being able to look forward to life, not necessarily to marriage. How does a single person get up in the morning with these pressures? And you're very right when you say there'll be people ridiculing you. They think they are joking, but they're making fun of you and your stage in life. It's like, oh, when is somebody going to introduce you? When are you bringing the moko? And it's small talk, but for many people, it's a reality. It's like a reality check in, by the way, you are not married.
Yes,
yes. Yeah.
No, I like that Grace talked about all those pressures, intrinsic, extrinsic.
Yeah.
And I just, maybe before I talk about the effect it has, just to amplify or add on what she has said, intrinsic, loneliness. And that's why I wanted to use the lifespan model of at every stage we have needs. Yeah, we have needs for human connection. When you are a little child, you want to connect with your parents. When you become a teenager, you want to disconnect with your parents and connect with teenagers, fellow peers. After that, you want to get into connecting intimately with. And so it is natural. And I'm emphasizing it because I also don't want single people to be dismissive of the intrinsic needs.
Yes.
Yeah, because sometimes when we are single, we run away. We like, that marriage is not for me. You had better mean it. Yeah. Because sometimes actually you feel you need it, but then you want to impress the public.
Yeah.
So it's important that we be real and connect with our desire. That's a very big starting point because you have to be true to yourself.
Yes.
And this is even important for prayer.
Yes.
You see, if you're praying to God and saying, God, I need a partner, you said in your word that it's not good for man to be alone.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to be alone. Those are some of the prayers that are honest, genuine, authentic, and God respects them. But if we start lying that we don't care, then one day you're praying that you get a partner, another day you're uprooting that prayer, then it's not good. So we have to embrace our reality of the desire, the intrinsic desire. If you don't have that desire, it is okay. If you don't desire marriage, it is still okay. But be authentic and real with that. So the intrinsic needs, but also you're hiding some. Now, where will they find
Where will they
you?
find you? At home.
By a glove.
You say somehow God's hand will locate me. No, I think it's intentionality, by the way, and we need to be real. Extrinsic pressure, that is so much, especially here where people assume they have the God-given permission to question and to hold you accountable. I think sometimes we really cross the line. We cross the line. It just reminded me of a time I was waiting on the Lord for a son. I can't tell you how much pressure I would have. And people would make these ridiculous and like annoying statements. Someone greeting you and say, when are you giving your husband a son?
Wow.
You understand that?
Yeah.
A boy.
A boy.
I'm like,
As
who
if,
are you?
As if it's within your power to say, now I'm
his
going
power.
to...
Like, who are you? Who are you?
Who are you?
So we crossed the line.
Yeah.
Now, look, I got a son 13 years ago. But those people who are asking don't even know where he is, how old, what he dresses, who pays fees and all. So there is this lousy, clumsy attitude that we have here, that you have to get into somebody's life and you have to ask them about what possibly is putting them on pressure.
Already, yeah.
You see? Yeah. This person is asking, probably wondering why they are not, they have their own pressure. And then you show up and you're like, when are you giving us a man? When is marriage? You're aging. You know, those kinds of things. It is so bad. Right? And I'm hoping that whoever is listening, that's not fun.
No, it's
not. By the way, it's not nice.
Yeah.
I know, for instance, a number of cases of people who were waiting on the Lord for children. Yeah. Imagine the amount of pressure you have
already.
You yourself, without anyone saying a word, you're checking, you're going to doctors, you're going where, and then someone is asking you,
what
are you doing? Are you just sleeping?
Imagine that.
It is annoying, especially on this part of the world.
Yeah.
This whole crossing of the line, and you have to ask about things that are
none of your concerns.
Yes, you don't know how this person is feeling. You don't know their story. They are probably struggling. You're just adding to the struggle. So the pressure is real. Aunties and uncles, some of them don't even know how your life looks like. All they know is a name. They have no idea about your life. But they also, because they are auntie, they feel the God-given responsibility. They can't even call you aside and say, are you doing okay? I'm just checking. I think I've ever had a conversation with one of my nieces. And I checked, I said, I called her and I said, we need, can we have a conversation? And I checked in. I said, what's happening? Are you postponing this? I'm just checking whether you need any help. I mean, I'm here talking to people about marriage.
But my own
family. So I say, do you need any support? You know, I feel that's different from just
when are you bringing
pressure on someone. When are you bringing a mko? What's wrong with you? You see? So that pressure is real. Now, you asked about what that pressure does. Of course, partly, it reminds us of responsibility. I mean, some people may not be courageous to make the decision. So I'm beginning with the positive.
Yes. Especially the men.
Especially the men. Yeah. But also to maybe contradict myself and say, pressure is not always the best, unless it is healthy. It's exerted in a healthy way. Like I've mentioned, where you take your cousin or your niece or nephew out and you have a conversation, you just check in from a place of responsibility. That is okay. And you open up channels for communication. Maybe they had no one to share their fears with. Starting conversation is very hard, especially on some of those sensitive areas. And so I would actually, on this point, in case I forget, if you really feel concerned about your niece, your nephew, your daughter, your son, do it in such a way that encourages them to share, not throwing words at them and you don't even look to see what response they have given you. Just make that arrangement where you go out with them, sit with them and say, I'm concerned about you. You know, I don't know if this is a concern, but I'm just checking with you. Do you have someone, or do you need any help? Are you planning to get married? That conversation it's a miracle. Rather, it just opens up opportunities for people to be vulnerable, right? But this pressure that is flying or floating, it never helps. It puts people on more, it creates anxiety. Someone loses hope. You know, I was talking to a young girl recently. She's just 28, like 28. And people have been saying, what's happening? Like, what's going on? You're growing old. And then, of course, we bring in all these scientific things about, you'll not have children. You're not. And I was telling her, I had my child at age 43. Did I die?
No.
You know, I know there is the biology, okay? With all due respect. But come on, if I have no one to do the biology with yet,
what do you want me to do?
You see? Then, of course, there is, I already mentioned it, that then people rush and they make rushy decisions and they
end up in bad
situationships. They end up, now there are so many people who are just having a child out of that pressure. They say marriage is not for me, let me just have a child. It's taking
too long.
Or they actually get pregnant to hook someone. So all manner of bad decisions that can be made out of pressure, out of panic and out of anxiety. It's not a good place to be. But of course, I also will tell you, some people get depressed. That pressure is not healthy. Because if Rachel says, Grace, what are you up to? Eva says, Grace, what are you up to? Uncle says another person. You're just going to believe that there's something wrong with you. Right? And so it plunges people into a state of hopelessness. And so depression then sets in. You know? When actually you find someone still has chance to engage, to partner, to make good decisions. You see? So,
yeah, I agree with, everything you have said, and I think the state of hopelessness is just terrible for any situation, whether you're waiting for a child, you're waiting for marriage, you're waiting for a job. If you can't have hope that something is going to come out of this situation, then there's no point in living, which is why people decide, you know what, I'm done. I'm done. And I don't think that that's fair for anyone. Grace, we want to leverage your experience as someone who is in their 30s. I feel that I should mention that. You're bold about your age. So
37 to be exact.
She's in her 30s, her late 30s. And I know that there are things that you have had to unlearn. Maybe relearn in terms of shifting your perspective. In moving from, okay, I'm waiting for marriage, to let me enjoy this stage of my life. And maybe also talk about how you're dealing with that pressure. When somebody makes a comment like that, like, what do you say? Because there might be someone who is like, give me something practical. What do I say to this uncle who's putting me under pressure? Or these online in-laws who are waiting for, my husband.
I'll start with the unlearning. So as I mentioned, I had not really learned, through, again, God's grace, I had not learned the pressure of, get married at this stage. But of course, now when I became active in church is when I started realizing, I was supposed to get married at this age. I'm so, I first now had to learn that, okay, this thing called marriage everyone seems to desire it. And I had to come to that place of asking myself, do I actually desire marriage? Because it's not bandwagon. It's not. So I had to come to that place, and so I had to unlearn all the things because I realized I struggled to come to that place because again I I had so much of the world's view of marriage and its brokenness, and in the back of my mind, without realizing it, I used to tell myself, I don't think I would mind if I don't get married. Yeah, because I wasn't seeing any good. I mean, my parents have a good marriage, but those are just my parents. I'm like, I don't know what's happening in that post-marriage. So I had to unlearn that, to realize I need to stop looking at marriage the way the world sees it, and now learn what does God say about marriage. Then I realized, okay, this God's vision of marriage is good, and accept, okay, I desire it. But now that I desire it, now what? And so, again, God has blessed me with married friends, like who keep me in their circle. They're not that stereotypical thing of throw away your single friends. They keep me, I'm in fellowship with both singles and married people. And so seeing how they work out their marriages, the highs, the lows, has helped me have a healthy view of marriage. So one of the ways I deal with those things, like with the pressure, is instead of running away from the idea of marriage and being scared of it and treating it like this evil thing that everyone is trying to put on me, I've embraced it. I know I would want marriage. When I get opportunities for people to talk about marriage, I listen. If I want to share, I listen. If people are vibing me, they're allowed to be vibed that, and I'm still struggling because sometimes it feels like you're disturbing.
You're wasting my time.
Not wasting, not so wasting, because I respect the people
who have come
who try.
around, yeah.
But it's just, sometimes it just feels like a game, because very many times I'm more. One of the ways I deal with my pressure now also is I'm busy, for lack of a better. I am busy doing other things that the Lord calls me to do. So that might mean learning how to steward, for example, my finances, because that's something I have control over. He has blessed me with finances. I need to learn how to steward them, so I will learn. He has blessed me with work. So I'm always learning how to work diligently, how to honor God in my workplace, how to improve my skills. He has blessed me with friends. So how do I nurture those friendships? Yes, most of my friends are married, but they also have children. How do I nurture relationships, not just with my friends, but also their children? Because those are people in my life. How do I nurture relationships with my family? So because of that, I always seem busy. So sometimes when people come, it feels like an interruption. Now I have to pay attention, and it's actually that's one of my current prayer request is for, if I want to get married, I need to be patient and have to listen, and it's just for me it's uncomfortable. Yeah. Especially because many men are not, they
won't come and say.
Either they will come with so much energy. This guy doesn't know you. He has never met you, but comes and tells you he wants to marry you. Already that is very off-putting. Yeah. Then another one knows you as if, but they are not saying. So either way, it's very, it's very disturbing. So that's how I've dealt with that pressure. I am busy, really. I don't allow myself to dwell. However, when, again, things like that, loneliness come up, I don't dismiss them. I feel them. I feel my feelings, and then I find someone I trust to talk to let them know this is how I'm actually feeling now. And yeah, we pray about it. And I keep saying we've been blessed as Christians that we can talk to God. Like the same person you're asking for something, you can talk to him and tell him, okay, now in this moment, this is how I'm feeling. And the feeling might not go away immediately, but at least you have a coping mechanism. And the other thing I keep trying to remind myself is, I think sometimes we treat life like a race. We're all racing, and then,
some people get there faster than others.
And so I've had to define what this race looks like. And I think the Bible tells us properly what thing we are running towards, and you're running towards God. Not towards a man, not towards marriage. If these things come along, they're just part of the journey. And so I keep reminding myself that the race I'm on is towards God. And at the end of the day, that is who I should honor the most. So if we are, Because that means if their voice is telling me to compromise, telling me, you're ever taking these things too seriously. I remember, no, this is not my audience. It is God, and He has said that this is how I'm supposed to live. I'm supposed, to get married and then have children. If his plan for my life involves children, they will come in His time. If his plan for my life involves a husband, He will come. I did not come. I keep saying I did not come with a manual. So it says grace. This is how she works. If He has brought me these 37 years to this level, what right do I have to think He will not take me wherever it is He's going to take me? So I keep reminding myself that God's plan for my life is good. It's better than I could ever imagine. And yes, He knows the desires of my heart, but the desires of my heart cannot be more than what He has already planned for me. And so, those are the practical ways. First of all, I don't isolate myself also. And then I also don't let things just fall on me. For example, when the Valentine's weekend is coming, it's going to be a trigger. I know it's going to be a trigger because everywhere is going to be. So I prayed about it. I asked the Lord to keep me busy. I was supposed to meet with a friend that day, but she lost someone, so we didn't meet. But the day came and it was a good day. I went to school. I enjoyed myself. I the day ended and I checked in with myself and I was okay and I was happy. I used to celebrate my friends. That's the other way. Like when my friends are getting married, I celebrate them wholly because most of the time we've prayed for this marriage with them. Like I'm not living in isolation. I'm also praying with my friends to get married. So when they get married, I celebrate with them. I participate in their weddings, and not because I'm waiting for a reward. No, they are my friends. That's part of loving them. So yeah, that's how I deal with that pressure.
I like that. I think when you're waiting, one of the things I've picked from what you're saying is being able to recognize what would trigger you. And I think when you're waiting on God for anything, if it's a job, when you see someone else who has gotten a job, you can be beside yourself, and continue to feel like you've forgotten. But being proactive to say, okay, Valentine's Day is coming up, let me pray about that season. God, preserve my heart, keep me from unnecessary triggers.
Yes.
What can I do on that day to kind of keep me busy and, not waiting for the trigger to be pulled.
That's true.
I like that. I think that's very practical. Yeah. Dr. Evers, what can our audience unlearn? How can they steward this season?
I was looking for scripture. I think it is in Jeremiah.
Yeah.
From Jeremiah 29, we know verse 11, I know the plans I have for you. But when you read on, Jeremiah 29, 30, 31, 30, I think up to 33, God speaks to His people about a time of waiting, right? And He says, while you wait, continue farming.
Yes.
Let your children marry.
Yes.
You also, receive in-laws. Like your life should continue.
Yes.
And I think that's the message I would give to singles and say, during this season, let your life be normal. You see, don't freeze. Don't get into captivity and you feel, I'm not getting out of this until I get someone to get me out. I think that is really tough. So that's one of the things they need to unlearn. Freezing and crying and doing all that. No, read that scripture and see what God was telling His people. And these were in slavery. They were in captivity actually. And they were waiting, when will I get out of captivity? And then He says, just continue living, work. I like that Grace is talking about organizing friends' events and not sitting and say, hey, mama, for them, but just to make sure that that in His time, God makes all things beautiful for all of us. And again, you've alluded to the scripture that I love so much. I remember I prayed through that scripture so much when I was waiting on the Lord for a son. I said, God, because people would tell me, oh, also girls are children.
Yes.
I said, of course they are. But God said, I will grant you the desires of your heart.
Yes.
And I remember several times when we are tempted, I thought, but it is this. And I still didn't get a son. Not that I was desperate, but I had a desire.
You had a desire,
I had a desire, and I would remind the Lord. I would say, Lord, you said that you grant us the desires of your heart. If it is your will that then I'm not supposed to have a son, it is okay. Then take away this desire.
Yes.
You see, that was my direction of prayer. Now, again, you see, every time we get stuck, we are likely to undo what God's promises are on our lives. We say, maybe God's marriage is not for me. Maybe, anyway, it's not for me. Now I've seen. But as long as there's still a desire, ask the Lord to connect with that desire, because it is His promise. He said, I will grant you that desires of your heart. And then, of course, this goes back to the point I made earlier. Do you have a desire? Or you're dismissing it? If you have it, be real and say, Lord, you know my desire. Okay, so it is okay for singles to know that as long as you have a desire, then communicate it to the Lord. And He will lead you. I mean, there are all manner of scriptures. One scripture that I love, I think it's in Isaiah, where this person said a prayer and said, Lord, I want to hear you say this is the way.
Walk in it.
These are some of the premises that we are supposed to step on and ask the Lord to speak to us about prayer. I also, one of the things that you mentioned, the stereotypes about marriage, ideal marriages, I think that's something that singles need to unlearn. Marriage is a lot of work, and you're not going to see the work when you're still single.
No.
You only have to get in to see the work. Okay? You can't, for instance, claim an experience on a job that you've never done. You only need to go there and do it. Now, that work manifests in different ways. It just unfolds in different ways, different shades and colors. We marry people from different backgrounds. And so whoever God gives you as a partner, it's going to be ministry. And so you're not going to use the template of Grace, of Rachel, and you say this is how men are, then all of them are wicked, women were born in hell. You cannot do that. And I feel like one of the areas that singles are struggling with is trying to identify an ideal marriage, using their parents' experiences, friends' experiences, and then they say, from what I hear about marriage, let me just keep single. That's not true. It's a lot of work. And by its nature, managing that relationship, people fall, get up, but it's beautiful because marriage trains us on character. Marriage is a great institution that can train us on character, refine our character if we allow it. We grow in patience. I think just last week I was talking to different work teams and telling them, do not resent love. Do not resent marriage. Marriage is actually good. The marriage has done nothing. It's the players that will mess it up. But God wouldn't have said it's not good to be alone. And so marriage is a good institution if we manage it well. And so once you see people who are mismanaging it, don't use that as a template. Or people who are still struggling to grow through it, don't use that as a template because you're going to have your own story.
That's true.
You see, you're going to have your own story. So I think that's one of the things, the stereotypes, the identifying an ideal marriage. It is okay to have models, to have examples that you can learn from, but I want to guarantee you're not going to learn from a perfect marriage. No. Marriage at 30 years, we are still learning a few things and learning a few things, struggling with things. So there is nothing like a perfect marriage. Then there is this joke, Rachel, about African parents. But I've been talking to my children about African parents. I said, what do you mean African parents? But they say, no boys, no boys, no boys, no boys. Where is a boy?
Yeah, that's true.
Don't allow boys to be near you. No boys, no boys.
Yeah.
Now, where is a boy? Yeah, so again, I think it's a frustration I've met among singles. They say that our parents didn't allow us, na.
Now they're
That's
demanding.
okay. You see, that's all right if you had strict parents, maybe you didn't understand why they were trying to protect you.
Yeah.
But I want to give you hope that you can start today. Relating, you don't have to have related with 10 people to relate. The principles of relationships can be learned.
Yeah.
You see, by the way, in fact, Rachel, I had forgotten. I want to tell singles, please, if you're still single, wow, you have an opportunity to use this time to learn how to relate. There's so many people that have gone into marriage, they have no idea about relationships. The only relationships skill they think they have is love. You know, when I reflected, I was like, okay, when I got into marriage, who had told me about conflict management, about communication? I would hear some random communication somewhere, negotiation, boundaries, and all these. These are principles, the accountability, responsibility, respect, humility. All these are skills that are needed in managing relationships and more needed in managing marriage.
Yeah.
And so if you're still single, you have an opportunity to get this skill set to help you manage. So don't waste time anxious, wondering when this will happen, crying yourself to sleep. Take time and pick resources and tell yourself, how would I manage this relationship? What skills do I need to learn? Because this is going to be a partnership.
Yeah.
It's also important for you, as I mentioned earlier, to take time to know yourself, know your traumas. Probably the reason you're still single is you're using trauma templates.
Yes.
Yeah, of me, you've heard people say, all men are evil, all women. Those are templates that you probably picked from your parents' marriage, from your friends' marriage. This is something to unlearn and know that every person you meet is going to be unique. They're going to teach you something. You're going to do life together. You'll fall together. You'll get up together. You're going to have your character refined. That's important. Take time to know the kind of partner you need. It's very interesting whenever I'm doing a therapy and people come in and they say, oh, my partner was made in hell. I say, how much time did you take dating? What questions did you ask? How much did you know about him or her before you got married? Turns out, you never asked any questions. We never ask any questions. We are so glad to meet someone, show up, Valentine's, flowers. But you know flowers, but you don't know the person. You see? You're not asking the right questions.
Yeah.
And Rachel, I'm sure we are planning a singles event here, speed dating, so that people can know how to ask questions, the right questions to ask when you're dating. Now, if you do not, you can actually use the opportunity of being single to challenge yourself and say, if someone came to ask my hand into marriage, what would I ask them? What conversations would we have? What kind of clarity would I want to have? What would I want to know about them? You know, what kind of due diligence would I need to do? Educate yourself, sensitize yourself. There are all resources available online everywhere. Use this time to educate yourself, to we call it personal sensitization. Sensitize yourself on what you need.
Yeah.
You see, in a partner, beyond he has a job, there's one who was telling me, I said, how much do you know about your partner? How much they were going to get married? He said, he works in, I guess, Bank of Uganda or wherever. Yes, he has a good family. I said, break down.
What does that mean?
How does a good family look like?
Yeah.
And then, you know, the father was a minister. Now, that doesn't give you the partner you want.
Yeah.
And so you need to take time and learn. But also, Rachel, finally, about readiness. And I think Grace alluded to it. Are you ready? Why do you look? It's not a matter of age. Of I'm 32, I'm now clocking 40, banange. No, but are you ready? Are you ready to share your life with someone else? Have you healed emotionally? Are you ready for children? Are you ready for this next stage with the dynamics it presents? Are you really ready? You know, I've seen some young people who get married and then the following couple of years, they are fighting over me. I didn't want children. Now you want children. Now the thing is, are you ready for such things? You can't say, and the girl was saying, for me, I still want to be single. I really want to be alone. I don't want the heavy burden of children. That's okay, but you got married and your partner expects children. So are you ready? That kind of readiness. So you need to, if you want to get married, you have to unlearn the single mindset. Then you're ready to get married. I think these are some of the things that we really need to pay attention to.
I agree. I feel like we've pretty much covered, a wide surface of this conversation. It's never ending. And sometimes the single life can be skewed to preparation for marriage, which it is not necessarily. And I want us to kind of end on that note to address a couple of things. One, what would you say to someone who feels like time has run out? You know, again, I'm not growing any younger. Yes, I'm feeling the weight of the pressure. Maybe I have unlearned some of the things that you have spoken about, but how can I make good use of my single life? Maybe what to do, what not to do. Let's kind of wrap this up in what is that one thing you would tell a single person watching who is like, you guys are talking, you Dr. Ivas, you're married, you Rachel, you're married. Grace seems to have figured out a healthy way to enjoy her single life. So let's speak to that person who feels like, I feel like I'm running out of time. What is that thing that can spark conviction or resolution to live, to fully live, you know, in their single life as we bring this. So these are your parting shots. We'll start with you, yes.
First, to that person, if we are feeling like that, first of all, it's not a good place to be in. And I empathize. It's not something to be taken lightly. But again, I'm very pragmatic. The truth is, as long as there's breath in your lungs, it's not over. Life is not over. And so I would take that pragmatic side of you're still breathing, you are still living. Marriage or not, you still have a life that if you're a Christian, God expects you to live purposefully. And so if you've reached a place where maybe you thought you'd be married and that's why you thought you'd find your purpose, ask God. Ask God to show you what you should do with your life. Okay, now you have arrived at this place. You thought you'd be married, you'd be taking care of children. There are no children, there's no husband. Ask God to show you what you should be doing. And when He shows you, obey. I think that's, we are very quick to pray, but I think we forget that God will answer us. So when He answers us, to this person, I'm speaking to myself because every day I have to deal with new things, new directions God is telling me to go to. And so every day I have to remind myself, obey. Do what He has told me to do, lean on Him, not on what everyone else is saying. Yes, there's value in community. I think I've said it enough. Find even those people you can talk to. Not people who will massage what you're already feeling, but people who will tell you the truth in love and bring you out of that feeling of being stuck and show you that you're more than this thing that you're holding on to. And then also, again, I keep talking about building healthy habits, but build those healthy habits that make you have a sense of purpose. I have a friend who used to say for her, laying her bed properly and putting her nice beddings was her thing. So whatever it is, find it. Build that healthy habits. I see very many people now are in fitness clubs. Join the fitness club. If journaling is your thing, journal. But live Like, don't just live your life. If you are working, thank the Lord. Be diligent in your work. Build your skill set. So yeah, that's it. Live. That's it, and ask God to keep helping you.
I like that. Leave. You know,
Leave.
don't hold back.
I think, yes, I'll build on that. Live. Enjoy the season. Yeah, enjoy the season of being single, because even this stage has so much to do.
Yeah.
We've labored it to explain self-discovery, probably growth in another set of areas, service, and all things that you may not be able to do should you get into marriage. But also, I want to emphasize the issue of discover yourself. Discover yourself. Who are you? What makes you great? What areas do you need to improve on? What pains and struggles are you still holding on to? Because all these tend to affect our decision making or choices of partners.
Yes.
You've heard of people who have gone into trauma bonding. They choose a partner, you say, yeah, you who knows my problems, you've gone through them, but both of you have not healed. Heal and be okay. Choose a partner from a place of health and healing. Then, of course, I also want to say to singles, don't make hasty decisions. Out of pressure. Don't fall in love. Find love and nurture it, and ask questions and check, because this is not a relationship to just jump into. So don't just make that hasty decision, whether you're intrinsically pressured or extrinsically pressured by auntie, uncle, parents, and all. Make sure you're firm. Be firm on what you want. And if you haven't found a partner, tell them. I've always advised people, especially young people who come here and they say, my parents they're getting onto my nerves. I say, no, you know they mean well. They wish you to get to that next level. Don't be in conflict with you. Just know and speak to them and say, you know what, Mom, pray for me. Pray for me. I actually am still looking for someone, but I haven't gotten because of this and this. Some of them can talk you out of your your checklist.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's okay. But just maintain calm. Maintain calm. Don't get into conflicts. And I think I also want to emphasize the issue of healthy distractions, because don't sit and grieve and grieve today, grieve tomorrow. You can easily get into depression. Distract yourself. But relate with other people. If you haven't found a romantic partner, make sure that you exercise your friendships very well and spend on people what you would have given. I was advising people during this love season. If you have no partner, buy flowers for grace. It does the same thing, and it's actually training you on how to relate. When I was expecting our son, I took what we call a prophetic action, and I did his room. In our new house, I did his room. I just made my boys' room. And what did I do? I brought I hosted my nephews, a friend's boys. They came and they are now big men, and I hosted them in that room, and I said, I want to see how it looks like. And then I did shopping for boys. I didn't know how to shop for boys. I had four girls. And so I wanted to see how that looks like. I took that prophetic action. In psychology, it's called healthy distractions, but it's actually a prophetic action. What are you doing? You're training your mind and your heart on how to manage a relationship. So take that action and be okay instead of sitting and being jealous of your friends.
It's not the way to go. I think that one last thing, there's a temptation to create the marriage that is taking long to come, or create a situation where you are kind of getting what you are longing for, but also, still in your singlehood.
It's called acting married.
Aha, acting married,
married.
and I think it falls in the category of those
Yeah.
hasty decisions, or even just have casual relationships because you're like, you know what, this long-lasting thing is taking long. Let me just go with whoever comes along, and there's just, again, reminds me of Abraham and Sarah while they were waiting for the promise, and how Sarah, because she was tired of waiting, she said, "But Abraham, why don't you and Hagar?" Yeah, and we know how that story ends. The point is, you can wait and have that beautiful thing, or you can just wait and enjoy the season that you are in, but don't try and recreate it because you are tired of waiting or because of the pressure.
That's true, Rachel. Can I just emphasize
Please,
that? Please do not create the Ishmaels.
Yes, yes.
Because in the place of Isaac, you put an Ishmael.
Yeah.
That has hurt so many
So
people.
many people.
So many young people have found themselves into single motherhood or single fatherhood from that kind of hasty thing. Let me try to act married. Let me just move in and test. Let me see if he's the right person. That's very dangerous.
It is.
That's very, very dangerous because the consequences of such relationships can actually sabotage your entire future.
That's true.
When you could have actually waited just a little bit.
longer.
I've always heard a story of a guy that was falling from someone, then they kept instructing, and he said, move down, move down, move down. So, and then he got someone and said,
I'm tired.
I'm tired.
Yeah.
And then when he fell, it was actually just near the ground. Sometimes your falling is
Just very close
just
to the
very
finish
close
line.
to the finish line. But then you choose to make a hasty decision to give birth to the Ishmaels. Don't settle for Ishmaels. Wait for Isaac.
There you go. Thank you, ladies.
Thank
you,
you.
Grace,
Thank you
for
too.
sharing your journey with us. I really hope that other single people will be emboldened to embrace this part of their lives. I think before we came on the air, we were saying how all these single events that we see on social media have married people speaking at these events. But that's partly because single people are like, again, the shame you were talking about.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the one who is talking for single people because you're feeling some kind of embarrassment. I think come out and enjoy this season of waiting because there's a lot that you can get out of it that will help you, in your next phase of life or just in this season that you are in. So thank you for watching. Again, do give this episode a thumbs up if you've enjoyed our conversation. We love hearing from you. So leave us a comment. Let us know what you have picked from today's chat. And we'll see you back again next week. Stay well, stay healthy, and keep it reality check.